Hey everybody, it's Lisa Young Sutton with another video, and this video was just requested this morning by a new reader, and she wanted to know more about yes/no questions. Now, if you look in my playlist for the beginner videos, you will find a video on formulating good questions, and you'll also find a video on yes/no questions. But I'm trying to make this really simple for her because she's brandy new. She's brandy new. She doesn't even have my book yet, but I do want to show you in my book. Here it is, Petite Lenormand. I can't even say it. The Petite Lenormand Oracle by Lisa Young Sutton. That's me. There is a chapter on formulating good questions. And then there is a section just on yes/no questions. And, oh, wow, there's a lot of stuff there. A question sampler. I'll look at that way. What, how, why, where, when, who, show me. Question ideas by theme. Rephrasing common question. Wow, there's a lot of stuff. Who wrote this book? This is fabulous. Seriously, I forget what's in there. Okay. Yeah, so lots of information on questions available through my videos and my book. All right, now, I have these laid out because I was warming up. I'm going to show you at the end what these decks are, so I'm not going to mention them yet. But I was warming up for the video, right? And I was trying to think of what questions I was going to ask. One is from a reading I did, but the other, I wanted another question just for an example, right? So I was like, okay, let's say that Sue's best friend's boyfriend just proposed, and she's not sure if she's going to accept yet. And Sue is just basically snooping and says, she's asking the cards, will she accept his proposal, right? And I drew 3 cards out, just, messing around. And I decided to keep them because they were too perfect. I couldn't put them back. So here they are. These are the 3 I just pulled. But, okay. Now, the point of this is, when I interpret yes/no questions, I do this every single time now. I interpret them as I would any other question. I don't do anything different. I just read the cards. I let the cards tell me a story. Now, what are the other methods that people use? One is the playing card in sets, right? A lot of people, this is a cartomantic technique. Why is this crooked? Am I crooked, or is I think my head's on crooked. A lot of people, a lot of people that come from cartomancy, playing card reading, or whatever, they like to use the playing card in sets, and they will use the reds for positive or yes and the blacks for negative no. And the problem with that is that most people cannot disregard these big emblems staring them in the face and just read these. Okay, so most people have a hard time with that, so we're just going to throw that one out. Okay, so let's get rid of that one. But I think a very popular method is to base the answer on, rather than interpreting the cards themselves, is just to base the answer on the positive or negative energies of the cards. Now, these 3 cards, no matter how you slice them or dice them, they're going to be a yes. Positives, 2 reds and 1 black, yes. Positives, yes. Interpreting them, yes. Okay, but it's not always that cut and dry. And a lot of people, first of all, there are a few neutral cards in the deck, and what do you do with them? I know, you just have to draw more cards, but then you can see it's already kind of getting messy. And then so many of these cards are not 100% positive. Like here we have the key card. No one's going to call this anything but positive, right? Or like the sun, right? But then there's so many cards that are positive neutral or neutral negative, and that's where doubts enter the picture, and that's where people are unsure. It just gets too messy. So why not just let the cards tell you a story? Because that also allows for other nuances, such as maybe answers, or yes but, or no but, or a change in the story, which you're going to see in a minute. And then, if you're just basing on like the positive, negative aspects of the cards, like Well, okay, if you're basing it on the playing card and says like, here we have a black card, but if somebody was asking a question, this is a good example. If somebody is asking a question, will he give me a gift? And you're basing it on these playing card insets and this card comes up, it's really hard not to see this card as, yes, he's going to give you a gift. It's the bouquet, it's the gift card. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it gets messy. All right, so will she accept the proposal? This is absolutely a yes. She's giving him her heart. She's committing. This is the ring, and this is the card of certainty. This is the yes card. So, yes, she's going to say yes. Okay, now I wanted to pull this spread out because this was part of a reading that I recently did. And like I said, don't panic. I'm going to show you what all these decks are at the end. I want to get through this first to stay on track. Okay, so, but this is a good example of why, wait a minute. There we go. Of why I interpret the cards rather than just asking base my answer yes, no on the energies of the cards. Okay, so in this case, this is a girl who she just hooked up with a guy, right? And this is the day after. This is the day after she hooked up with him, and she's waiting by the phone. You know that she's got that sense of desperation. Oh my gosh, I don't know what he thinks of me now after last night. Is he gonna call? All right, so she's asking, will he call? Now I laid these cards out, and because I interpret the cards, I saw the full story. It starts with change. So right away I'm thinking, well, he was either not going to call or he was, but something changed. Okay, but then we have the card of going another way. This is the card of alternatives, and this is the card of making a decision. Then we have the rider for bringing news, and then we have house, and then we have her. So it was looking, I think even if you just base these on the positive and negative, you would get. Well, actually, yeah. Okay, so if you base these on positive, negative energies, you would have gotten a yes, correct? But the answer is no. The answer is no, he's not going to call. What happened? He was going to call, but he changed his mind, and instead he decided to visit her. He didn't call her. He went right to her house. And of course she was thrilled. Now think about this. Now these three cards together told me that he was going to her house, because here we have the rider. Now this could just be, yes, he's going to call, because this is just bringing news to her house, right? And this is the decision card. But when these three cards are together in the context of this question, because what's the secondary meaning of this card? It's a road. It's a path. It's like he got on the road and he rode right to her house. And that's just what happened. So I really wanted to show you that one. Thought that was a good example. Because now what if I had interpreted these cards based on positive, negative, and just told her, yes, he's going to call. Well, she, when he showed up, she wouldn't have cared, but she would have still said, well, no, he didn't call. The cards were wrong. Okay. But what if I asked the question and pulled three negative cards, right? Because the answer to will he call is no. And what if I just asked the yes, no, basing the answer on positive, negative energies? I pulled three negative cards and said, no, sorry, he's not going to call. And she would have been depressed all day, not knowing that he was going to show up. Okay, so you can see the value in interpreting the cards rather than just saying yes, no. All right, and notice I'm not rephrasing these questions. I'm leaving them as yes, no's, but I am allowing the cards to tell me a story. Now I want to show you one more before I get into these decks. I'm sure you're already noticing a bit of a theme here. All right, so for this one, I'm going to charge the rider. I'm shuffling. Shuffle. Okay, I'm going to charge the rider, and I am going to, I'm I'm going to use the same question. I'm charging the rider because it's going to be the same question. This is just an example of another way you can do it. So we're asking, will he call? All right. And I'm going to charge the rider, and I'm going to explain in a minute why I would not charge the birds card for this. All right. So because so many people, so many modern readers that are not grounded in the traditional meanings of these cards, every time they see that birds card, they say, oh, it's talk. It's a phone call. No, that's just a secondary meaning of the card. The card means so much more than that. And anyone who has my book, of course, knows that. All right, so I'm charging the rider, and I'm going to take the one in front and the, no, you know what? I'm going to take the two in front and the two behind, so we have another 5-card line because I want a story. Yeah, so I'm charging the rider for will he call. Okay, and this is in my book too. I call this the, what do I call this? The party note table reading, I think. All right, so I'm looking for the rider. I'm going to show you this deck too in a minute, so don't panic. I know I keep saying that, but yeah, there it is. Wait, this is good because look at the other card we got right next to it, the birds. Okay, I will tell you what all these cards. Oops, wait a minute. They're stuck together here. I'm going to tell you what all these cards are in a minute. Hang on. I have stickage issues. There we go. All right. I have to zoom in so you can see them because this is a mini deck. And there's a lot going on in these pictures, so I want you to, whoops, wait, hang on. Oh, how's that? There you go. Oh, you can see them clearly now. All right, so now what did I do? Remember, I charged this card. So we're not actually interpreting this card. I mean, it is part of the story, yes, but it didn't fall naturally, right? We pre-selected it. So basically, I'm not reading it. It's just a placeholder. Now, this is not a narrative read left to right. This is, the energy is all moving toward the pre-selected card, the focus card, right? So method of distance, these two cards carry the most weight. We read them first and then these two, okay? So we have bear and birds. So this, remember, the question is, will he call? This is not a definite yes yet because this is basically everyday stresses, temporary stresses, chaotic things, exciting, brain chatter, a lot going on, trying to get everything done, right? But this is the card of control and taking charge and asserting yourself, right? So this is taking charge of this. So already that's leaning toward a yes, but certainly not a definite yes. But now we, again, look, I got another key. We got the yes card, all right? But here we have the letter. Oh, that's the key. Okay, that's the key. Here we have the letter. The letter is the card of general communication, any kind of communication. It's not just written, it's not just paperwork, it is the general card of communication. Now, when it falls with the birds, in many cases, right there, that tells you verbal communication. Not always, it depends on what question you're asking. Everything is based on all of the cards together and the context, okay? So don't ever, when people say, every time you see this, it means this. And I'm like, no, don't ever say that because card reading is never, it's not a recipe. It's not a cookbook, okay? You can't just have, guidelines like in a cookbook. You're not going to have a recipe. It's going to be different all the time. But if you understand your primary vibes, what these cards mean, and you are consistent in your methodology, the cards will work with you and you will never be, in doubt. You will always know what these cards are saying. So because we're asking will he call and we got birds and letter, that's, to me, that's a definite yes, especially since we have the key here. Okay, so yeah, he's going to get control of his hectic day, right? This is the card of certainty. We can also say that he has control of the key. He's got the key code to the phone, right? And it's certain that he is going to communicate. Yes, so this is a yes. This is absolutely a yes, he will call. All right, now let me show you these decks because as you can tell, these are all Halloween decks because it's coming into Halloween time. My favorite time of the year. It is too. All right, this adorable little deck is from Lorraine's Etsy store, Divination Apothecary, which is linked in my description box. And it's a mini deck, and I believe it's the only, well, it's the only mini Halloween deck I know of. I mean, there are probably others out there, but you can see how cute it is. It's very, 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 very cute, but it is a bit busy. There's a lot going on in these pictures, which if you lay this in a grand tableau, unless you work with this deck enough to really, you know, get used to these images, you're going to, you know, it's going to be a little more difficult. But I don't care, because when I love a deck, I use it no matter what. It is a really cute deck. Okay, so that is Lorraine's deck from Divination Apothecary. Now this one is the one I showed the other day in my live quickie. This is the Nosferatu Lenormand, and I love decks that come in tins. Thank you very much for that. This one, oh, Lorraine also gives you extra cards. Wait, she gives you some extra cards. She gives you an alternate man and woman, so you can have 2 men, 2 women, or, you know, just whatever your choice is. She gives you an alternate book. The other book is open. This is a stack of closed books. She gives you an alternate bear. This is like a cuter bear. She gives you an alternate fox. This one isn't facing either way. He's facing forward. An alternate child, and that's nothing. Okay. So the Nosferatu deck was kind enough, they were kind enough to supply this card that tells you who created the deck, or maybe this is a store, Crone's Bones, and then on the other side it has the name of the deck. So even though I can't tell you right now where I got this deck, all you have to do is type in Nosferatu Lenormand by Crone's Bones into a search engine, and bingo. All right, so this one gives you extra cards too, other options. There's another bouquet, there's another dog, it's a jackal. Look at that letter. A lot of times I choose just like, I chose the plain letter because I don't want too many people in my cards, you know, because I right away I look at them and I think it's the man card, you know, that kind of thing. They give you, she gives you another man and woman, another coffin. See there again, I chose the coffin card that didn't have a person in it. But that's my, oh, you know what's a good point about the stork? Because this stork is obviously building a nest. This kind of leads you to think of expecting a child, right? Whereas this stork is more of the change or moving, right? That image. Okay, you can see why these images can lead you to think a certain way, and I do have a video on that, why you should not allow these images to sway you. But that's hard with new readers, you know. That's why I like those traditional decks. When you're new, don't get too cute too soon. Okay, now this deck, oh my gosh, I love this deck so much. Someone please tell me who created this and where I got it. I'm guessing I got it on Etsy. I can't imagine where else I could have gotten this deck. But look at the cuteness of this deck. It is so adorable. I love this deck. And it's very clear. This is an easy theme deck to use in a grand tableau. I've done it several times. These cards are well worn. I use this a lot because it is so clear. But I can't tell you the name of it or where it came from. Because unlike the Nosferatu, this deck designer didn't supply, look at the house card, oh my gosh, did not put the name anywhere on the deck, but didn't supply the card, an extra card that would tell you the name of it and the name of the store or their name or whatever. And most of these decks by these independent deck designers come from like Hong Kong or whatever, and they come in a plain white box, so you don't know. And I get that. I'm sure it's expensive to create these boxes, but it would not cost anything more to supply one extra card that has the name of the deck and the name of your store or your name on it, you can figure that into the cost of the deck anyway. So please do that. But if anyone knows where this deck came from or the name of it, please let me know, because I know people will ask me, but I would like to know anyway, because this one is really getting worn and I'd like to get another one. Anyway, okay. That's it for today, friends. Thanks for watching as always. Now go play with your cards. Bye, everybody.